that fast. This time we're going to take care of a few exterior upgrades that I've wanted to do since I got the Blazer, including a brand new polished stainless steel push bar or bull bar, some clear corner lights. I've got a swing out spare tire carrier that's going to get installed, and a few other bits and pieces. So let's go ahead and get to work on the first item, which is going to be changing out these amber corner lights and bumper lights to new clear units. So to replace the lights here, the bumper lights are just held in with a couple of 7mm screws here into the bumper. Those are pretty easy to get to. For these side marker lights, the whole front grille panel does need to come off here. There's several, I think there's about 8 Torx screws here that need to come out. So to get started on that, first thing we need to do is pop the hood to get to the Torx screws and start taking the grille out. So there are Torx screws across the top here. There's 2 on either side. Then there's a couple down here in the grille itself. So just make sure you get them all so that you don't crack and break any of the mounting tabs. And just for reference, these are T15 Torx bits. All right, after removing all of the Torx screws here, the grille is ready to come out. Just gently pull forward on the top, and then the bottom has a little bit of a lip there that goes behind the bumper, so just gently pull that out and then disconnect the bulbs from the side marker lights here. Those disconnected, that'll all lift away. Okay, now with the grille out of there, there are, well, this side there's only one. There's supposed to be 2 plastic tabs that come through here to hold these side marker lights in, and we'll just need to unscrew that and those will come out of there. A couple of 13mm nuts here. Just remember to be careful because this is plastic and these will break. Since we're putting new ones in, it's not as big of a concern, but certainly if you're going to take these out and reuse them, or when reinstalling the new pieces, just remember to be a little bit careful because it is plastic. So I may have to track down another one of these because one of them was already broken off and missing. I only have 3 out of the 4. I'll have to go through my spare parts here and see if I have the old one laying around or an extra one that will work. Well, I just looked through all the my spare hardware and everything that I saved. Never throw anything away. I know I did have at least 1 or 2 of these sitting around somewhere, but after looking through all my spare parts and extra hardware, I can't find it. So for now, I'll just reinstall with one of these on either side, and then I'll have to go up to the store and get a couple of replacement nuts here to make sure that it's fully secured with the new lights. So for comparison, here's the old amber light, and here is the new clear one. These ambers were actually in pretty decent condition, but of course we're trying to get rid of the orange on the front of the truck here because, in my opinion, it looks a whole hell of a lot better. Again, very gently, just run that down. Alright, so that part's done. Got the clear side marker lights in there. Let's set this aside now. Another thing I'm going to do real quick while I'm in here is these bumper bolts. If you've ever taken the bumper off, you need to take the grill off to get to the bolts here from the top. Is the easiest way. But I've got a couple of these that are a little rusty, so I actually have some new bolts to go in there that are polished stainless steel to look just a little bit better. Well, there's another fail. As it turns out, I had ordered these new bolts quite a while ago, and I guess I did something incorrect. I ordered the wrong size. These are much larger than what is in there, so these are going to have to stay for now. So I had noticed before, for some reason, one of my LEDs wasn't working here for the side markers. Let's see. There we go. Guess it was just a loose connection, so get that back in there. This one's not very bright. Well, that one's not very bright for some reason. I think I got another one of those. Let's swap that out. LEDs have been very hit and miss for me. Most of them work pretty well, but I've had a few here that, you know, like this one, not quite as bright as it should be. Let's see how this new one does. That one's not very bright either. Well, for some reason that's not quite as bright as it should be. Not sure why. The other new one here is the same brightness, so I guess we'll leave that as it is for now. At least it works. So next up here, I'll go ahead and work on swapping out the bumper lights. Alright, so there's the old one out. My old one's all cracked and broken there because the old bumper had been hit right here and it was dented and bent in, and that also cracked the original bumper light housing. So we'll get rid of that. That's the passenger side. This is the driver's side. These also come with new amber bulbs, so I'm going to go ahead and use the incandescent amber bulbs that came with the new light housings. These are not LEDs, but at some point I will go ahead and upgrade these to LED bulbs as well, but we'll use these for now. So, same deal, get that plastic shit off of there. Come here. Gently slide that up in there so we don't break anything or scratch it all up, hopefully. Of course. Now, of course, after all that fighting to just get that in there, I just realized that I screwed up again, and I left the little clip that has the part that the screw goes into off. So those have to be switched over from the old housing to the new housing. So after all that, I got it in there. Now it's got to come back out again. The other one. All right, so that side's in there. Take the new bulb from the kit. One down, one to go. All right, passenger side out. Make sure we change the clips over this time. All right, let's drop the grill back in here. Again, feed the bottom part in first. Make sure you reinstall your lights and the side markers there. All right, well that looks pretty good to me. Let's see how, let's make sure they work. All right, awesome. Well, they all work there. Oddly enough, that one seems pretty bright now. Let's try the... All right, cool. Well, everything looks like it works there. So that turned out pretty well. Not sure I love the fact that they're different colors there between the side markers and the bumper lights, but might do something about that in the future. So real quick here before I get started installing the new window runs and sweeps and weather stripping for the front doors here, I just thought I'd give a quick baseline. I've got a little sound meter on my phone here, so I'm going to see how loud it actually is in here before I change out all of these rubbers and weather stripping, as I imagine that should make it a little quieter in here, hopefully. But just wanted to get a baseline reading. This is not very scientific or anything like that. Just for the sake of curiosity, I wanted to see if I could see any kind of significant difference in the noise reduction. So here we are, about 35 miles an hour. Now we're at 79, 80 decibels roughly. All right, getting up to a little higher speed now. Doing about 45 on a little bit faster road here. Somehow it's actually quieter than it was at 35 by about 4 or 5 decibels, so that's interesting. I'm sure the biggest difference is going to be from these front seals at basically highway speeds. I'm not really going to take it out to the interstate here because there's not one real close to where I live. But I'm sure turning 65, 70 miles an hour that the new seals and everything will make a bigger difference at that kind of speed. Most of the road noise right now is still coming from the back. and a lot of the areas where I've not added very much sound deadening material yet. And, I think in my first video on the Blazer I talked about where I added it to all 4 doors and a little bit here under the front seats and floor plans, firewall area, and a little bit in the back. But like the wheel wells and the cargo area in the back, I have not added any sound deadening insulation at all. So that's where most of the road noise is coming from, those rear tires, I think. Alright, so I just transferred the metal channel for the front piece onto the new window channel. So now I've just got to remove the back and change it over as well. There's just a few little tabs on both of these pieces here, so you just need to straighten those up so that you can slide it off and get it off from the rubber. But you do want to be careful because you don't want to break these off. You're going to need these to reinstall it onto the new piece and secure it. Once it's off of here too, you can take a pair of needle nose pliers and really straighten these out, which will help you get it back together. Just peel that back and the metal piece should come out. Ooh, this one's got a little dent in it. So I guess I need to bend that out first. Alright, well those don't fit in there super well, but I think that's good enough. So now I just need to lube the channels down and try to slide it all back in there. Okay, well sorry about that. I ran out of storage space on my memory card there, so I didn't get all of this recorded, but I did get the window run channel fully installed here, along with the outer Beltline trim or window sweep, whatever you want to call that. And in the process, I have knocked the window off of the regulator track back here, so I need to get that back in. And then for the inner Beltline trim, that has to be pulled off of the door panel back here, and then it needs to be drilled and riveted. The new one needs to be drilled and riveted back on to make that work. So, and another note, getting ready to do the channel for the other side here, I discovered that the new window channel is split. So I'm checking with the company that manufactured these parts to see if they'll send me a replacement, one that isn't already split. Hopefully they will. These do have a 10-year warranty, so I'm hopeful that they will send me a new one. If not, I'll just have to install the one that does have the split in it. Even though it's not perfect, it's still much better than what's on the driver's side. So probably going to be held up a little bit longer because of that, waiting to hear what they will do. But overall, this isn't too bad of a job, so just need to keep working on finishing everything up here. The window does fit in here much more snugly now, and actually before I knocked it off the track, it seemed like the motor was struggling a little bit to get it to come back up, so hopefully that'll all still work well once it's all finished, but we'll see. You can see it's definitely in here much more solid and supported than it was. All right, up, down, all good there. Just gonna go ahead and lubricate all that. Alright, so up next for this side is going to be the actual weather stripping that goes around the inside of the door here. And to take this off, it just pulls off as well, but it looks like it is behind a couple of these interior plastic panels, A pillar, B pillar, and down here on the sill, there's the little sill plate. So I'm going to take those three things off so that I can get the weather stripping off a little easier and it should make reinstalling the new weather stripping a lot easier, not having those things in the way. Alright, back here in the Blazer now that I got all of the weather stripping and everything changed out, and I can see an improvement here. So it looks like 75, 76 decibels, if you can see that. So this is the same stretch of road as I did it before, and before I was getting 79 to 80 decibels here. So it's about 4 or 5 decibels quieter than it was before. The weather stripping around the back doors needs to be replaced as well. I can tell I'm getting a lot of road noise from there now. I've actually driven this back and forth for like an hour plus road trip or drive a couple of times now. So I can really tell that that's where the noise is coming from. It's much quieter in the front though, so huge success there. So we'll get it out here on the little bit faster road in just a second and see how that compares. But remember from earlier in the video, the faster stretches of road were actually quieter before than the slower stretches. So we'll see if that holds true again. Not that fast. Alright, so before we were getting 76, 77 decibels on this stretch of road at about 45 miles an hour. That's actually about the same as it was before at 45. 76, 77, 78, 74. So ever so slight improvement at the slightly faster speeds than it was before, but not as dramatic as it was at lower speeds. So that seems to be the trend. Overall though, if you're thinking about doing this, if your window channels and everything are all dry, rotten, and cracked like mine were, I'd highly suggest you do the same thing and replace them. It makes a big difference. It makes the truck look a lot nicer too. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I'm sorry I didn't get as much done with the tire carrier or the bull bar and some of the other stuff I had planned to do in this video as well, but I just ran out of time. I've gotten busy with my real estate business, so that will have to come in another video. But thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Click the thumbs up, like this video if you did, and I'll see you next time.